Hey all, Hipper here. So it's been a while since we've had an Agile Wichita video here on the channel. It is a bit of a shame because an Agile Wichita is one of the most powerful ships you can possibly imagine. It's right up there with an Agile Edinburgh, really. Some of them, well, probably one of the most, well, the best ships in the game, really, no matter what build you put on them. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share, of course, guys, if you like this video. So let's just look at my build here for Wichita, which is slightly different than other Agile cruisers. So I am actually running Beepley, but I have the Alice Thompson guys on, so it doesn't look like Beepley, but it is, I promise. And I have Müller and Baltimore as inspirations here. That's unusual, because I usually have Takao instead of Müller. But other than that, ingenious, and you know, you have to have that on this build here because the turret rotation is too slow otherwise, so you have to. Velocious, you know, all the usual stuff down here, and fully packed so we get 3 of all the stuff that we like. And the reason I'm running Beepley is just because her base trait is better than Kincaid's, really. And in the first slot we have the improved traverse speed. It's so important. And in the second slot we have the propulsion, and I'll tell you why I have that and not rudder later again, because I said this is a different Agile build. And we have, of course, the rudder in the third build. We need that. And then we have the improved reload here. So with fully packed, we get 3 of everything. And that's always good to have if you're facing a lot of destroyers. Aggressively, it's quite good. Nothing spectacular there. But this is an Agile build, so we don't spec into it. 2.2 rudder, 40 knots, 680 turning radius. This is one Agile cruiser, people. And the reason I don't have double rudder on this ship here and I don't run Takao is that 2-second rudder is the sweet spot, really. It's better to have like a top speed of 40 knots than 38 knots. So with this build here you get the best of everything, just like Edinburgh does, where you have 2-second rudder. Actually Edinburgh has 1.9, very fast acceleration, and you know, a reasonable turning radius. So you can throw this Wichita around like a maniac, and the game just becomes so much more fun when you play like this. Look how I just avoid those torpedoes there by just throwing the ship to one side. It is a lot of fun. Alright, and since this is a masterclass in Agile cruiser play, I will just first and foremost say that if you spend the whole time kiting in your Agile cruiser, you're doing it wrong. You only kite when you absolutely have to. And first job of any cruiser, really, Agile or not, is to get into a good position, and so you can radar any destroyers, and if you get the opportunity, you cap. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. As soon as the game started, I went full speed, 40 knots, good acceleration, straight into the middle of the map. So 1, hopefully I can spot some ships. I haven't really done that though, but usually I do. And 2, if you can catch the destroyer, you know, unaware right in the beginning of the battle when they're trying to cap, that is just gold. So unfortunately, both destroyers are over at the other cap, so it's a little bit difficult for me to you know, put myself over there. So instead, I'm going to actually go for the cap here in the middle of the map, because it's the most difficult cap to get. And as an Agile cruiser, you are the most difficult ship to hit in this game here. And as it is now, there's an opening. Like, there's no battleships really here in the vicinity of B that can actually be a threat to me. So it's now or never. Getting this cap here is so important, because the B cap is so hard to take back after someone has already taken it. And that's why I am going all in on this cap here. And as you can see, Agile cruisers, they're all about capping. Kiting, many people think that Agile cruisers, all they do is kite. I mean, yeah, sure, you can kite if you want to, and I'll be kiting in the pretty much the last half of this game here, and that's why I'm going to call this a masterclass in Agile cruisers, because I kind of show you everything that you're supposed to do in an Agile cruiser here. And again, the CV coming in here trying to reset me. We don't want that. So luckily I have my very fast rudder here. You can see how I can just, you know, throw the ship around so I don't get reset, and it's just so satisfying, guys. Like, if you haven't tried an Agile Wichita yet, like, you're missing out. Alright, so we've taken the B cap now, and we're just gonna have a look at the map and which cap is the weakest cap, and it's obviously A. It seems like we've lost at least 2 ships over there, so that'll be the cap that A will try to take. if we can't take it, then B will try to defend it, and if we can't really defend it either, then we'll try to reset the enemy ships over on this cap as many times as humanly possible. And while we're doing that, we're going to kite our stern off, because like I said, if you need to kite, then this build is the best for it. I'm not saying that you should kite, and it's situational, really. Like, I actually don't kite a lot in my Agile cruisers, because I usually don't survive long enough to actually get to kiting. But when I do, it is, well, it's satisfying and it's fun. So I just need to get out of this cap here, so I actually get an open view on the A cap, and just avoid incoming salvos while we're doing it. And then see if we can't get a few fires here with the auction lady and her golden tracers. So, you know, this really is a ship that gives you a golden shower, really. Yeah. So the Lion is capping, and we want to reset him. But obviously he's not the same, like he's not the only ship in this cap here, and we'll have to reset all ships as we go along, so they will never be able to grab this cap here. And that's really frustrating. And it also means that these ships will have to be exposed for much longer than they really want to out in the cap. And that's what you really want to achieve here. And as you can see, the destroyer player here in my team, he is also really good. He knows exactly what to do now. Like, I play the bait, I reset the red guys in here, and he tries to take them out with torpedoes. And at the same time staying safe. And this is just, like, you would think we were in a division here and had this planned out, but we're not. This destroyer player and also the CV player, which you will see later, they just absolutely play a wonderful game here. And it's so rare that you know, get matched with players like this. The Lion is like, I don't know what he's doing to the Weimar, but anyway, the Amaji comes in, and obviously he has to be reset too, because the cap points are split out on these 3 ships here, and we don't want him to cap, because getting that cap here, like, one is going to be really hard to take back. And as long as they don't have the cap, they don't get any points. So keep it up as long as you possibly can. And then I was kind of hoping that someone over at sea would have grabbed that cap now, because there's only a cruiser over there. But unfortunately that's not the case. So at this point here I am deciding, okay, we should probably start heading towards the sea cap. And that's unfortunate, because you can see my front guns obviously turned the wrong way now, so I can't really reset as many ships as I want to now. But I need to think about, like, the broader picture, and C is what we need to grab now, because we'll never be able to grab A unless this destroyer here pulls off a miracle, but it's unlikely. So it's better just to give up the A cap, keep defending it, keep resetting it for as long as we possibly can, and then consolidate our power over at the C cap instead, where I have CV support as well. So that's the plan right now. And you can see I'm desperately trying to reset this Weimar here, because my front turrets still haven't turned. Because they take 23 seconds, and that's actually a little bit slower than I want them to, but I can't speed them up anymore. At least not without giving up other stuff. And you can see I get a hit on the Weimar like a microsecond after he finishes capping. It's just so unlucky. But anyway, we're up to 17 defense now, so done what we could over here. We took B, and we have defended A for as long as we possibly can, and I mean, cannot really ask for anything more. So now all we have to do is prevent the Reds from taking the C cap, and victory should be ours. So notice how I am playing the rabbit here. Like, I keep shooting and harassing the red ships, so they all shoot at me. And you can see the Weimar losing interest in the destroyer, and that's obviously the whole point here. I want the destroyer to go free, so that the red ships will be chasing me, and like, chasing an Agile Wichita is just it's a fool's errand, really. And I'll just keep resetting this Vlad here now, and you can see the destroyer, the Weimar has lost interest, and he's focusing on me. He's trying to set a fire on me, meaning that the destroyer should be able to torp him now. And when that happens, the A cap is open. So the CV coming in for another drop here, but again, look how I use my fast rudder to just totally trick him. It's just, guys, it's just awesome, this build here. Now I don't know this destroyer player here, and I don't know the carrier player, but they obviously know how to play when you have an Agile cruiser on your team, because I I take all the attention here, draw the enemies away from all the objectives, and just leaving them free to one, support me, and of course in the destroyer's case, actually, you know, win the game for us. So, I mean, yeah, I get a lot of damage, I get a lot of defense, but that's really secondary here. The whole purpose of this is to win the game, obviously. So as you can tell, when you play an Agile cruiser, you have to play aggressively, just like I did in the beginning. You have to get in there. If you can't get into the cap, you should be just outside the cap. And you don't really start to retreat until odds are, you know, definitely not in your favor. Just like in my case, where the whole left side of the map had pretty much fallen. And there was really no hope of holding that cap by myself in there. So, like I said, I'm not saying you shouldn't kite, but when you kite, you need a good reason for it. Don't start the battle by just turning around and kiting away. That's not going to do anything good. Instead, you have to get in there, and you have to use that rudder and that speed to like your team's advantage. That's the whole point of this build here. And it's rare that kiting is in your team's advantage, except in a situation like this, where, you know, you're keeping the reds from actually capping. So this is pretty good now, and I will head in again to finish off this Vlad here. And I'm just checking what this Lexington is up to. And but he is it's like he's like way ahead of me, because in a minute you'll see him making a drop on the Vlad, and meaning that he pretty much takes him out. So that, you know, puts us down to 2 versus 3 ships, and 1 battleship and 1 carrier versus a cruiser, a carrier, and a destroyer, who actually know what they're doing. That's, you know, yeah, it's hard to find players like these in random battles, and I'm just so happy when it happens. Look here how I use my rudder again to just simply negate this whole salvo here, like I've been doing the whole time, really. So obviously there's another battleship in here in the cap, so it's an Amagi, because that's the last one left. So we're going to head in. Because with this build here, you can just dance around an Amagi much better than even an Atago can do. So it's a little bit of fun at the same time as you are actually winning the battle. You know, could you, you know, achieve all these things with different build and different tactics? Absolutely, absolutely. You could sit behind an island and reset those ships over at A. You don't have to, you know, put your life on the line kiting away like I did, but that's fun. And when I play, you know, games, I would like to have some fun. It's not all about, you know, chat-ism here. And I think Agile builds are the perfect like mix between a very, very efficient, supportive cruiser build and actually having a good time in this game here, because an Agile cruiser build is just so different from everything else in the game. It's not about, you know, pure damage or tanking like battleships. It's not about concealment like in destroyers. It's all about agility. So it's totally different. And like you saw, this agility build here is different because I don't have double rudder on it. I don't need it, because Wichita's rudder is already so fast that I can get it down to just about 2 seconds without the rudder in the second slot, and that means I can free that slot up for the you know, improved acceleration. And like I said in the beginning, that makes this ship almost as good as Edinburgh. It doesn't have torpedoes, so Edinburgh is still better, but it is one very, very nasty Agile cruiser. Look at this here again. Just fit in between the shells, because you can just move the whole ship around so quickly. And 1, it's very efficient, and 2, it is a lot of fun. Now, I actually haven't played an Agile Wichita in a long time, because I kind of fell in love with the Agile Edinburgh, and it's just slightly better than Wichita, so I kind of put Wichita on, you know, the cooler for a long time, but I'm thinking that I might check it out again more these days here. If not, just to show off its CE badge. But so I just remember that this is a special Agile build here, and it's only used on Wichita and kind of used on Edinburgh, but maybe on Edinburgh it's not voluntary because you don't have the option of putting the acceleration on the ship. But as you can see, it works beautifully. So if you get a cruiser and you can get the rudder down to about 2 seconds, 2 seconds is optional. I have 2.2 here. I can just live with that. Anymore, and I would put Takao on the ship. But as it is, I can get rid of Takao and put Müller on instead, and up my top speed from 38 knots to 40 knots, which is just as agile as rudder. I mean, most people think that agile cruiser is all about rudder, but it's rudder and speed, and usually a combination of the two. Now, if I should critique anything in this game here, it would probably be that I was a little bit too far from a Vlad there in the end, but that was because I wasn't sure where the Amagi was. If I had been probably a few kilometers closer, I would have been able to grab this last cap here as well. Not that there's really any need for it at this point in the battle, because we've pulled it off, we've won, and it was looking very, very grim about halfway through this battle here. But that's why it's so important to play with good players. And these two players here, like, I sent them a message after this battle saying very, very well played, because it really was very, very well played. I can't believe we pulled this off. So like, kudos to these guys. And if you watch this video, guys, please put a comment, so people know that who you are, because you deserve some recognition for this. Anyway, that was Agile Wichita Masterclass, and I hope I explained everything well. Otherwise, write a comment. So hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you out there.